I absolutely adore being a mum. Like, honestly, it's probably one of those things that I love the most in life is my new role as a mother and as a homemaker. Cooking, cleaning, heck, I don't even mind doing the laundry every day. And to be honest, it doesn't even bother me that I can't even go to the toilet in peace or shower in peace. None of those things really bother me. I don't even mind that was close. I don't even mind that my house is sometimes a mess, that I need eyes on the back of my head when I'm cooking the dinner. Those things just don't bother me very much. I don't really get much time to myself to get ready in peace. And if I do want to do anything in peace, then I have to plan for that in advance and make sure that I have some kind of childcare arrangement, which doesn't even happen very often. But all that being said, there are of course things that I find difficult. By the way, for anyone who's interested, it is the 14th of November and I still haven't carved my pumpkin. So one of the things I find slightly challenging about being a mum, and yes, it's a little bit superficial, but I find it quite challenging that you sacrifice your looks. So when you're pregnant, you cannot get a lot of the stuff done that you maybe would have done prior. For example, lip fillers, Botox, certain facials, certain hair colors, microblading, even certain brow tints. Now, I never had fillers or Botox or anything before, but nothing will age you quicker than being a mum. I promise you that. So I am actually at the stage where I would like to get Botox and lip fillers and things, but you also can't get it done whenever you're breastfeeding because there are no studies done, obviously, to know what actually goes into your bloodstream and affects your milk, which therefore will affect the baby. So that can be slightly challenging if you used to get spray tans and your nails and hair and everything done regularly. There are limitations to what you can do during pregnancy and breastfeeding. And with all of the sleep deprivation and looking after little tiny humans 24 hours a day, you do start to age and you do start to feel a little bit less like yourself, and you would like to treat yourself to those types of things, and you have to prioritize the little ones, which means not prioritizing yourselves as much, and that can be quite difficult. Recently, I've actually really started to dislike the way I look, and I know that is superficial, but I promised myself I would have perfect teeth by the time I'm 30, and I'm almost 30, and I haven't had my teeth straightened or whitened or anything yet. And again, there's just limitations of the things you can do when you're a mum, scientifically, and to the point where a dentist actually won't always give you braces if they think that your gums are going to be too sore from postpartum or during pregnancy or anything like that. And even getting the time sometimes to actually go and get those treatments whenever you have little ones to look after, that can be tough to find a balance. I think my little one's getting up, so that might just mean I have to put a pin in the video for now. I'm going to chit chat until he fully gets up anyway. So another thing that I find quite challenging when it comes to parenthood is always trying to be present with your children. So a lot of the time I'm in my head. I have like grocery lists in my head. I have constant never-ending to-do lists. I feel stressed with things that I just have to do during the day. And then a lot of the time I just want a little bit of time to myself to get lost out of those thoughts and maybe scroll on social media or just binge watch like Netflix or something. And I'm not a lazy person by any means, and I'm certainly not addicted. I am addicted to social media, don't lie, but I'm not addicted to like a really unhealthy point. If I find myself constantly in a loop of scrolling, it normally is an indication that I'm stressed or overwhelmed, and I kind of go into my phone instead. But it's during those times that your kids need you the most, and they crave that attention, and they need your attention, and they need you to be present to feel loved and supported and cared for and seen and heard. And I do find that a little bit difficult to find a balance. So sometimes I'm either like 100% all in on my kids and the phones are put away, and that really fills me up with joy, and I know I go to bed at the end of the night feeling like I've done a good job. But then the times where I'm stressed or I get sucked into the loop of scrolling, I do feel guilty. So I find it difficult from a guilt point of view, but also a balancing act point of view. This might be a really bad place to put my camera, directly in front of the steam, but I am cooking my lunch, and yes, I did change my shirt, but we had a few interruptions and now we're back. Another thing I would say was quite difficult when it comes to becoming a mother is sense of community. So I just want to chat briefly about community in general. So I did have a great support network of my friends anyway. My friends are fantastic, but they are in very, very different places in their lives than I am in my life. Neither of them have, or none of them have children as of yet. So they're still like busy pursuing their careers and doing things that really fill them with joy. And I have been at home raising a baby, which also fills me with joy, but I've lost a wee bit of community and it just wasn't as easy to meet up all the time. Now, my friends are fantastic and they did make efforts, so that helps significantly, but if you start to lose touch with some of your friends and you're just in very, very different places in your lives, that can be extremely difficult. So I just wanted to let you know, like, if your friends are good like mine, this time will pass and eventually you may all like catch up with one another, and maybe some of your friends might join you in the motherhood journey as well, and you can start to sort of rebuild those connections and friendships and everything. However, I would say to seek out your own community as well. So if you are feeling a little bit isolated like I did in the beginning of motherhood, then definitely like sign up to some apps. I use an app called Peanut, or you can join some Facebook groups and everything as well and meet other mums in your local area that have kids of a similar age. I think that hugely benefited my mental health. But back to my main point, I do think one of the things I struggled with during motherhood was like lacking a sense of community. So definitely take the steps to avoid that from happening to yourself as well. I'm back and you didn't even know that I was gone, but I'm kind of filming this like as and when I have the chance through the day with a toddler to chase after. And we're upstairs in my room. I've got a couple more things just wrote down in my notes here that I wanted to mention. They're a little bit more serious, so I hope they don't like make you feel low if you are a mother, or if you're about to become a mother, or if you're thinking about having a baby, because honestly, being a mum is genuinely the best thing in the world. But I would say two more things that I find a little bit difficult about being a mum is, one, losing your identity. Just a touch. Constantly being out of breath. That actually wasn't one of them, but I'm just noticing I'm constantly out of breath at the minute. And lastly then, your career. So I'm going to touch briefly on both of those points. So first of all, losing your identity. I'm very much aware of the fact that I put all my eggs in one basket. Everything I think about kind of revolves around my kid, but it's not going to be that long to the point he's up and about doing his own thing and he's not going to need me all the time anymore. And so I'm quite conscious of the fact that I need to have my own likes and dislikes and my own hobbies and my own sort of recreational activities, because when the day comes where he's up and out, I'm going to be like, now what? So definitely I find that a little bit of a struggle, knowing that I need to prioritize myself, but then all I want to do is just look after him. And then lastly, the career thing is probably the most difficult thing for me to talk about, let alone to actually live through. And I'm getting to a stage where I'm kind of comfortable with it now. Me and my partner did have quite a lot of like power struggles in our relationship during the first year of being parents, because I've always been super independent. I always had my own career. I owned a couple of salons which closed down during COVID because I was also pregnant with my little boy during COVID, and the world was just a little bit crazy. I shut the businesses down. I did have my own savings and I do still have my own income, but I know that there may be a day where I have to lean on my partner financially, and that's kind of odd for me. It's been a bit of an ego struggle and a bit of a power struggle, and I never thought that I would be dependent financially on a man. And although I'm not financially dependent on Joel, someday maybe I will have to be, because he is working full time. His income is very reliable, whereas even being an entrepreneur or even being a business owner, owning a salon, it was a great independent revenue stream, but it isn't always reliable. I mean, you can have quiet months and busy months, and when you have little mouths to feed, that can be quite unsettling. So I think figuring out a balance between being mum and having your own career is really difficult. And being honest, the 5-day work week, 2-day off wasn't invented for people living in 2021. It was genuinely invented whenever women stayed at home, maintained a home, cooked, looked after the children, and the men went out to work. So the men worked 5 days and they came home to a happy, peaceful house, and that was the woman's job. It's all a little bit much to juggle sometimes, and it's definitely something that I've struggled with. I would say it's probably the thing I've struggled with the most out of all of these tips. But 15 months in, my little boy's 15 months, and I'm starting to slowly let go. I think it was the ego-driven side of me that wanted to have it all. So anyway, my camera is about to die. Those are the main sort of chit-chat tips that came into my head today just while I was cleaning the house and making lunch and things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Do subscribe if you liked it, if you want to see more videos. My last video was a clean with me and organizational sort of chit-chat video, so go and check that out if it interests you. And go and follow me on Instagram. There is nothing really on my Instagram at the moment because I started from scratch, because that's also something I like to do every now and again. But go check that out if it interests you, and I will see you in the next video.